Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to go from this to this. Wah! Now that's what I call good skin. You'd never believe that it was actually mine. I love this makeup, it's just unbelievable. This is how I wake up on a daily basis. My skin's red, my skin's blotchy, my skin's uneven, I've got spots. It just looks pretty yuck. But this is where the magic happens. I have already cleansed my skin using the hydrating cleanser, which is really good for dry skin, which mine is, even though it wouldn't look it with the amount of breakouts that I have, but it is. So I use the hydrating cleanser and then I also use the hydrating moisturizer, and I use that in the morning. I do use the nighttime repair moisturizer in the evening, and it does make a difference when I wake up with how my skin feels in the morning. I'm using the liquid foundation brush, which has a well in the middle, and I've put 5 drops of my Touch liquid foundation in there, but I've also put a small amount of concealer around the top of the well so that I am concealing as well as putting my foundation on in certain areas that need the most coverage. Unfortunately, because my skin is the way it is, I will have to go back and touch conceal later, but it gives me a really good start. So after I've blended all that in, I'm going to use my pressed powder. I'm going to just do a light coverage all over my face. It helps with making my skin tone even, and it also shows me those areas that I need to go in and further spot conceal, because they're just certain spots and breakouts that don't get covered by that alone, unfortunately. So I'm taking my Touch concealer and just putting a small amount on the back of my hand. I'm going to apply it with a brush rather than my fingers, because I find it's easier for me to blend the concealer into those products that are already on my face with a brush rather than my finger. Some people prefer to use their finger, and if that's you, that's fine. I do advise though that you use your ring finger if you're going to be applying makeup with your fingers, because it applies the least amount of pressure. And again, don't pull at the skin, because the skin doesn't like it. It gets really agitated, and it can also lead to fine lines being formed, which nobody really wants. So in those areas that you just need that little bit of extra coverage, just go in, dab it out, and just sort of dab it so that the product is blending with the other products around them. You won't take as long to do this as I do, because most people don't have their skin as blotchy and red as mine. So if you don't need this step, just leave it out. You don't have to worry about it. I just don't have that luxury. If you fancy swapping skin with me, then you feel free. Just give me a message and let me know. I've got no problem with it at all. So just keep going until it's all done. I'm then going to use my pressed powder again, just to set those areas that I've spot concealed. Rather than using a brush, I'm going to be using the sponge applicator that actually comes in with the pressed powder, and I'm only using a small amount, but I'm pressing it into the skin rather than pulling at the skin, again because my skin's really sensitive. It doesn't like being pulled around, whereas if you actually press the products into your skin, you find you get a better finish as well. So that's what I like to do. It just means that you don't have to worry. Everything is perfectly colour matched, so whichever colour foundation you use, you'll also use the same colour in the concealer and in the pressed powder. You don't have to worry about them not matching. They are a perfect match for each other, so everything will be perfectly blended and you won't have any lines or anything showing perfectly, so it's not really that visible. If you are using any of the products, make sure you do take it into the hairline. You don't want a harsh line at the top of your forehead, and the same at the jaw. Take it down underneath the jaw and make sure you blend it in. It gives the natural finish. If you know me at all, you know I am absolutely crazy about my highlighting and contour. I do use the Sculpting Trio. The contouring cream is lovely. It comes in 3 shades. So I use the light one because my skin is really quite fair, and you do notice the contour with it. If if you want a darker contour, you can always get a darker colour, that's not a problem, but for me it's perfectly fine. And I just take it from the top of my ear right underneath my cheekbone, and I stop about halfway along my cheekbone. You don't want to make it come too far down, because then you have really sort of severe look and it doesn't look natural. You take it up on the temples and you take it along the jawline, so it's as if you're making a number 3, and you just blend that out. You can blend it out using the brush with no problem at all. My personal preference though is the Beauty Blender, and again with this you're dabbing, dab. You're not going to pull at the skin, because you don't want to make it, you know, angry. And I definitely don't want to make my skin any angrier, because, you know, I might go green like the Hulk. So just blend it all in so you've got no harsh lines, but it does make those cheekbones pop. And because I have a round face, the contour really does help put my cheekbones in. Because I have dry skin, I prefer to use a touch concealer in a lighter colour for my highlighting. There is a highlighter within the Sculpting Trio, but because my skin's dry, if I put too much powder on, it just looks wrong, so I do prefer this way. Remember, when you're highlighting underneath your eyes, don't do the half moon, semicircle just underneath. Do a triangle. It looks more natural, plus this is where the light is naturally going to hit your face, so you're putting your highlight automatically in the right place. So I've literally just drawn 2 triangles underneath my eyes, above the nose, on the forehead, right on the tip of the nose, and on my chin. This is where you want your highlight to be, and again, use your brush and just dab, so you're blending it out. I do go back in with my Beauty Blender, because I do prefer the finish that my Beauty Blender does give. It just makes it flawless, and I like the highlight to look natural. I don't like it severe, the same as my contour. I like a more of a natural look with it, so I find that the Beauty Blender does actually do this for me. Now, an awful lot of people will go back in over the top and set the highlight and contour with a lighter and darker pressed powder. If this is something you want to do, feel free to do that. I'm not going to, but having highlighted the tip of my nose and highlighted underneath my eyes, I am going to have to contour the sides of my nose just to make it look a little bit thinner. So rather than getting any more product on my brush, I just take what's left over and just rub it gently down either side of my nose, and then take my Beauty Blender again and blend it out. I don't want a really heavy contour here. It's just for me and my personal preference. So if you don't want to do it, don't worry about it. It's not a problem at all. However you like to wear your highlight and contour is how to wear your highlight and contour. If you don't like using a cream, it's really easy to do with a bronzer as well, but again, I don't use the bronzer because I don't want to be putting too much powder on my dry skin, but it's a really nice effect using a bronzer too. So that's not a problem. The next step that I always use in my daily makeup is blusher. Now, not everyone likes blusher, and I don't like an Aunt Sally look. I don't want really rosy cheeks, but I do want a slight flush so that it looks natural. I like a natural look. So the tip is smile, and the apples of your cheeks automatically become really evident. So start with applying the product there, and then take it up along the cheekbones so it fits in between your highlight and contour, and then just blend it out with a fluffy brush, whichever one you have. And then we're going on to our eyes. I love eye makeup. And this is the look we're going to be creating today. I'm using palette 3, which is all the purples, and I'm just going to quickly show you how to do it. I'm just taking the base colour and I'm sweeping it all over my eyelid and up above the crease, not quite as high as my brow bone. And you can do this with any of the colours in any of the palettes. It's just I quite like using this one. And I'm taking a nice pink colour into the inner 1/3 of my eye. Now I'm doing a slightly different look, because normally if I'm doing a smoky eye, I'll put the lightest colour in the inner corner of my eye first. This time I'm actually using the medium shade, and I'm putting that on the inner corner. I'm then taking the lighter shade and putting that in the middle, mainly because I'm going out tonight and there's going to be lots of lights. I want the middle of my eye to be sparkling, and the eyeshadows within palette 3 have some really nice sort of glitter effects in them. I'm taking then my darker shade and putting it on the outer third of my eye, and I use the brush and actually draw on my outer eye a line up, and I blend from that in towards the rest of the eye, so I get my sharp line for when I'm applying my eyeliner. I always put a really light shade in where my tear duct is. This opens up the eye like you wouldn't believe, and it gives added sparkle. It's really nice. I don't like a severe underline on my eye, although I will put a little bit of eyeliner on my lower lash line. I do take some of the eyeshadow that I'm wearing on my lids and just line underneath my eye with it. Now, I'm not trying to get you to make big bushy eyebrows. I'm not really a huge fan of the big eyebrows. I like it to look fairly natural, but I do like them to frame the face, and I find that using the pencil and the brow gel do just that. It frames it. It works with what you've got. It doesn't create a whole new eyebrow for you. If you want to draw your own on and then fill it in, you can use these products to do that. That's just not how I like to do mine, if that makes any sense. It just frames the eye and it just draws attention to it, and it does look really good. And of course, we're going to finish our look off with our fantastic 3D Fibre Mascara. You can see my one eye has no mascara on whatsoever, and the other eye has 2 coats of the mascara. So as you know, this fantastic, amazing, absolute fabulous product comes in 2 tubes. The first is the transplanting gel, so you need to make sure that you give a good coat to your eyelashes of the transplanting gel. This is what the fibres stick onto. Your second step is to go with the fibres, so they will cling onto the gel and they will make your lashes look longer and thicker. Make sure that they stay on by applying a second coat of the transplanting gel. Now, because I'm going out tonight, I do want a really nice false lash effect, so I'm actually going to put a second coat on. So I've already done my 3 steps, so my 4th step is another layer of fibres, and always finish with a final layer of the transplanting gel. And that is my look pretty much done. I finished it with a lip stain. Ta-da! Look, it doesn't move, it doesn't smudge. That's it.